Welcome to Great Talk and Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the podcast where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. And this is going to be my spoiler review for episode 2 of the new Disney Plus series by Star Wars Skeleton Crew, episode 2 spoiler review. So if you have not seen this show, pause this, go watch it, come back, and let me know what you think about this show so far in the comments below. And please don't forget to share with your friends and hit that thumbs up button, because this would help this YouTube channel so much. So I thank you guys and appreciate that. So again, this is a spoiler review. Y'all been warned. Let's get into it. Episode 2 continues on with the 4 kids lost in space, and we get introduced to droid SM-33, who tells them who his captain is and why he's there, and he was originally going to get rid of them, but Fern tells him that she killed his captain, and now she's in charge, and now SM-33, the droid, follows her and does what she says, and he remembers in his program that he's supposed to go to this, station where it's like a black market where pirates do their deeds and buy things, and they're under the radar, basically. And obviously, we learn that Aten is like a mythical place to a lot of people, and we learn that the coins that Wim has are like old Republican credits or whatever, and they haven't existed for years. And so it seems like this place is a mythical place, and the new Republican has done everything they can have done to make this like an unknown place, and nobody even dares to try to look for. So they did really good with that, and I wonder who did it, who's the main person that did all that and why. I'm really curious. But we learn like these kids are just being kids, and they're getting into trouble, getting into danger, and we see some creatures, alien species, pick on them, try to rob them, but they all know they got these rare, old Republican coins or credit, and they're really intrigued, and they almost got robbed by one of the pirates from episode 1 that looks like a wolf. And I thought this was pretty interesting because, I assumed that he did, but Brutus shows up, but luckily, SM-33 shows up and saves the kids, but unfortunately they get locked up. But that's where they meet this Jedi named Jah Nawud. And he's the guy that in episode 1 that set up that high ace to robbing that spaceship, but didn't find the credits. And so that's why he's locked up. But it's really interesting, there's this female character, alien species, which I don't recognize, and I apologize, but I'm sure she's a well-known in the books and comics and all that. But she seemed like she wanted to help the 2 girls, but then the 2 girls don't trust her because they're pretty smart like that, and they're like, we don't trust you. But I think she was trying to get them out, but she was in that club that is like a strip club, or the gentleman's club version, but it's in Star Wars, obviously. So, they knew they couldn't trust none of these pirates, basically. And what's really interesting is that this whole thing is about these kids getting back. And it seems like anybody they're going to work with or tag along with all has a hidden agenda. And no matter what, it just seems like that these 4 kids are going to bring back a lot of people who are going to maybe follow them secretly, like either sneak on their ship or Maybe they have a spaceship that can be invisible and not be on their radar, and they can't be detected. But it just seems like they're teasing the idea like their home planet's about to get invaded. Maybe by some pirates or whoever these pirates could be working for. Like, we don't know, but this is like episode 2 to me is the actual start off of what this whole series is going to be about. Basically, what season 1 is going to be about and how it could end either at the end of this episode, this season. Aten is going to be invaded by somebody, or maybe a possible season 2, or maybe they all stop everybody and they get away and nobody knows where their home planet is, but the mystery Jedi, Jad Nawud. So he could be the only one, but who knows? But basically, episode 2 basically just told everybody that whoever these kids work with or trust, they all basically have a hidden agenda. And it's going to be very interesting who and what and why is going to be the kicker. And, it's going to be pretty fun. But this is going to be a thing where the adults don't listen to the kids, but the kids are right. And they're going to, trick these poor kids. And they may have the proof and evidence to prove it, but none of the adults are going to believe them. And it's going to be one of those scenarios. So, this is what I like about this too. And when I said this, to me, episode 2 is the start off to what this whole season's about. And maybe episode 1 should have really been that, but that's okay. I mean, episode 1 and 2 are released on the same day, so it's not a big deal. But what I'm getting out of this from based off of this episode particularly is, they're going to learn that they can't not trust anybody, but there's going to be some heroes in the making. And probably, because it's Star Wars, some of these characters are going to turn to the dark side in their adult life. And it's usually like, to me, it's probably going to be Wim and Fern, because they have similar lives in a way. It seems like they both only have one parent. And if you look at like the Anakin Skywalker story, he only had one parent. And he's the Sith. He's Darth Vader. So, same thing with Kylo Ren. No, he killed his dad. Spoiler review for that. But it seems like he only had one parent, because it seems like Kylo Ren's dad, Han Solo, left and did his crazy adventures around and stuff. So, it's one of those scenarios. So, he went to the dark side, basically. Kylo Ren. So one of these kids, out of these 4 kids, they're going to the dark side. Or maybe they won't. Maybe they'll just be different and none of the kids go to the dark side, but they become the future heroes of the Star Wars cinematic universe. But that's a possibility as well. But it just seems like this whole season's about these kids learning like real life lessons the hard way, basically, too. And maybe I can see Wim and Neil's friendship ending too, because I can see that. I think the 2 girls, I think they're always going to be friends, but I think Wim and Neil they're going to split. Their friendship's going to be over. I can see that happening too. So, and this is just based off of episode 2 that I'm getting the vibes from. But I'll tell you what I like about this episode as far as like the extra details. I really like how with this is like the black market, and it reminds me of kind of like the Obi-Wan Kenobi show where Obi-Wan went to a place that the criminals run the place. political people can do stuff and get away with it and not be seen. They can gamble. They can get items that they're not supposed to have, but find it on the black market. Like, it has a lot of this vibes in this one where they went to the station. And I also like the idea of, like, these kids are in extremely danger, but we're looking at it through the eyes of a child, where it seems playful, but I don't think these kids realize. Well, I mean, they do realize, but man, I don't think they realize how much danger they're in. And, like, there's no parent to save them, basically. But it's going to be very interesting where they go. But I like how that's set up. I also just like the graphics and the VFX effect to these. Some of these characters are CGI, but some of these characters are, like, old school built, like a puppet. And I thought that was pretty cool, too, with that. Like, it has a good flow with it. Just kind of like episode 1. Like, everything it's just flowing right. And the storyline is pretty simple. And it's easy to consume more. Because this is kind of like a show where you don't really necessarily have to go back and watch all the prequels or do your research on each and every character. This is a show you can just really just chill and watch. And you can just pick up on things real easily. And because Star Wars is a difficult thing to pick up on. And you got to really watch everything else to understand one particular series or show. Or really understand the history of a Jedi. But this one, it just seems like there is going to be a Jedi. But they're not going to go back through the history of Jedi. They're just, the idea of Wim wanting to be a Jedi is probably going to be the main focus of this. So I like that. And I also like how some of these characters, we're going to watch some of these characters grow, especially the 4 kids. Like, I really like that. And I really like how all 4 of their personalities are somewhat different, but very similar in the same way. Because obviously they're kids. But this is going to be like an idea of, like, this is going to be a base like a pirate theme. And I feel like it's going to have a lot of Peter Pan feel to it. You know, they're pretty much in Neverland, basically, in a way, far away in a galaxy. And they all have their vibe, but, you know, who's Peter Pan in this version? I mean, pick your choice. Each episode is probably going to be different. But it does have that Peter Pan feel to it, I should say, just based off of this episode. But that's what I like about it. I mean, that's a really good format to use, especially in a Star Wars story like this. So I'm okay with that. And obviously, I think the cast members, their acting skills are really good. I think they're performing really well, and the dialogue, it's kind of cheesy, but not really like a bad cheese. I think it's a kids thing, but I like where it's going with that. So it's good. Like, you know, they're battling it out. So I think it's gonna, again, I think this whole season is gonna be a fun adventure to watch, and, you know, maybe particular episodes are going to have a really huge connection and tie-ins to certain Star Wars shows and movies, but I don't think the whole season's going to be, like, super focused on the past and other shows with it. So, again, I think this is going to be a fun show to watch, easy to understand. And this one, so far, the pacing of this episode has started picking up. And I think there's more to come, too, obviously, when we get to episode 3. So, really great episode. What I think about how it all went, I think, basically, this is kind of like, these kids are going to learn from their mistakes, and they'll be better at these particular situations or scenarios in future. So, I think that's one of those type of things. So, that's all I really got to say about that, but I liked it. I like that they're lost and they're trying to get back home. And, you know, it's not something to overthink. I don't think none of those out of the 4 kids, I don't think they're going to get killed off. I think all 4 make it back safely. But I think it's going to lead to something else to get ready for the next Star Wars series, is what I think too, as well. So again, this is the right show to do that too. So I'm okay with it. But other than that, if I had to give this a 1 out of 10, I'm gonna give it a 6. It was great. It didn't give us a lot, but it gave us enough. They pretty much stayed in one spot, but we're pretty much watching kids make mistake and get fooled and tricked. And when they think they're gonna win, they get outsmarted because again, they're all adults, and these are kids. So it's one of those things. But other than that, I like it. Neil's my favorite so far. I mean, Neil, his personality just cracks me up. But really great show. And Wim, I like Wim. I like Wim that he's very immature, unresponsible. And I like the flirtation between him and Fern. That's pretty neat. That's pretty cute. She's very standoffish. Instead of she's showing affection in a way where she might punch him in the arm, but she really likes him and respects him. And he's just too foolish to know that. And it's gonna be interesting to watch those two, maybe fall in love. Who knows? But they're just kids, so who knows where they go with that. And then I like who could be the main villain, the main antagonist. Brutus, like he's a wolf. I mean, a talking wolf that's a pirate. Nothing wrong with that. But we'll see where this goes. But yeah, I'm just gonna give it a 6. They didn't give us a lot, but they gave us a lot at the same time. And obviously, I wish there were some things that explained just a little bit more to make somebody understand. But maybe they did that for a reason, or maybe they just ran out of ideas to make it as simple as they can. Because there's a lot of characters in this show that I can remember seeing in older Star Wars films and shows. So maybe they're not the same exact character, but they're the same alien species of it too, just to play that safe. But it's great. I like it. But that is my review, y'all. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit that notification button so you can always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace out.